there are certain things happening in the demonic realm also that seem to be setting up a narrative that will explain away the rapture. Because when this happens, all believers and children under the age of accountability will be taken, will disappear, will not be here on this earth. And so you know they're going to have a reason for this to occur. They're going to have the ability to explain this away. You know they're not going to say, hey, this is the rapture and God took all the believers and left the unbelievers behind to go through the tribulation. You know they're not going to say that. They have to explain it away. And so what we wanted to note this week was that there was an interesting story that came out, and I think when I marry this with already previously known information, we find what they will say when the rapture happens and how they explain it away. So let me start with the story. The story comes out of Forbes.com, and there's a lot of websites that had this story, so it's all over the internet. And what happened this week is that the Pentagon formally released 3 unclassified videos. And these videos had been leaked a long time ago by Navy pilots, and also the New York Times had big stories on this several years ago. And the stories about these Navy pilots who saw these unidentified aerial phenomenon, they call it, or the old term used to be UFOs. But they call it now unidentified aerial phenomenon because they can't explain it, okay? And this step now for the Pentagon to release this after years of them having this information is big. Now these videos that were first published by the New York Times back in 2017 showed fast-moving oblong objects racing through the sky. And a pilot in one video yelling, "Look at this thing, dude. It's rotating," and they can't believe the speed of it and whatnot. And they've got it tracked on their radar screens. Also, another video released shows an incident from 2004 in which a Navy pilot encountered an object 40 feet long hovering above 50 feet of water. And this is according to the New York Times. And then the other 2 videos are from 2015 and show strange objects moving very, very quickly. Sometimes at supersonic speeds, racing above the water, one rotating in midair. And anyway, let me show you the videos of them. These are the videos that got released, and you can see this to remind yourself of it. You probably saw it back in 2017 when the videos came out. They've been on YouTube for some time, but here's the videos to remind us all of what the Pentagon just released.
Echo 6-1 Tango Roger, over.
Oh, go ahead! Woohoo!
Roger, there's troubleshooting as soon as I
Did you box moving target?
02.
No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man. Look at it fly. What the Dude, that's a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing. It's rotating.
So as you can see with those objects, they appear on radar. They fly at supersonic speeds. They're doing things that break all of the physical laws. And I want you to think about this. We've talked about this before. That these things have the ability to appear on radar and then disappear completely. And they move at speeds and then they stop suddenly after supersonic speed, do a right angle or just stop suddenly. if that was a creature, and I don't, let's throw out the idea that these things are aliens. They're not. They're demonic presences. They're fallen angels. But yet they keep calling them aliens or whatnot. If this was a physical creature, it would have killed the creature based on our physical laws. You can't go supersonic speed and then just stop on a dime without it killing the creatures inside, whether they're humans or, in their minds, aliens, right? And so what they have at least admitted is that these things seem to be interdimensional or multidimensional, which we would agree. They seem to be multidimensional. In fact, they don't go by the laws of our physical universe. Well, the old saying, if it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, looks like a duck, it's a duck. When you see these things, they're doing physical things that are impossible for any physical creature. Well, then what does that tell us? They're not physical. They can manifest physically and they appear on radar, but they can go right out of our dimension just like that. Well, if it acts like a fallen angel and it does things like a fallen angel, then why are they not calling that? Well, they're not going to go there, as you know. But you and I know that what these Navy pilots are seeing, the legitimate things, and then probably 5% of what people see is legitimate. You and I both know these are not aliens from another planet or another galaxy. They are demonic presences. They are fallen angels, and they're doing things in the sky. But again, understand that demons or fallen angels are shapeshifters. They can change into whatever they need to look like. This is why some of them will change into like a dead loved one and make people believe a dead loved one has visited them from the grave, because they are what's called a familiar spirit. They can take on the role of grandpa or grandma, smell like them, act like them, know things, because they're familiar spirits. So we do know that demons have the ability, and fallen angels have the ability to manifest themselves in different ways. Paul even mentions this, that Satan will pretend to be an angel of light, right? So he can masquerade, and that's what they do. When you study this phenomenon of appearances of demons, appearances of fallen angels through the course of history, what you end up finding out is they appear to the culture in whatever form makes the culture afraid. So if you go back to the Middle Ages and what they were seeing as far as demonic manifestations, they were seeing things like trolls and goblins and things like that now we look at as a joke. But back then, they really thought those things existed. And they did exist in the sense that they were fallen angels impersonating these monsters, or whatever you want to call them. Well, now in the modern day, trolls and goblins don't work to scare people because they're part of fairy tales. But now, what do the demons try to do? They manifest and shapeshift into things that scare us. Aliens from another galaxy, spaceships, whatever, to scare the public now. You know, when people spotted things in the 1800s in the sky and they saw demonic manifestations, do you know what they saw as far as UFOs? They saw blimps and they saw, hot air balloon types of things, and the creatures in there that manifested themselves in the 1800s told the people they were from Mars. That's where we get the word Martian. And so now things have changed, and now they can't say they're from Mars because we know what's on Mars, nothing. And so now they say they're from another part of the galaxy and they've traveled here and whatnot. But back then in the 1800s, the demons told the people they had traveled in a hot air balloon from Mars. That's what originally, when people started seeing UFOs, that's what was happening in the 1800s. But as you notice, as modern technology then advances, the demons change their story. And so things now are more sophisticated. Before, there used to be flying saucers. Now they manifest in a pill-shaped form. and appear as you know, another type of interdimensional spacecraft rather than a flying saucer. Flying saucers became prevalent, you know, in the 50s, 60s, or whatever, and now it's another type of craft. And so it's interesting that now today we're seeing more and more of these demonic manifestations in the sky, and it's creating a narrative. It's creating a narrative that there are aliens out there, they're visiting our planet, there's alien abductions, and by the way, alien abductions, it mirrors satanic ritual abuse. And so everybody that says they had an alien encounter, it mirrors satanic ritual abuse. And by the way, when these people have these encounters with aliens, so-called aliens, when they mention the name of Jesus, the aliens flee. Doesn't that tell you something? And funny thing is, the aliens always have a smell of sulfur on them. By the way, if you've ever been around the demonic, they smell like sulfur too. But anyway, when you see all this, you understand it's demonic activity. Yes, there's a lot of fake things out there, no doubt about that. Probably 90% of the things out there are fake. But the 10 or 5% that are real, it is demonic manifestations. But why? And this is the question no one answers. The reason for it is they're creating an alternative narrative for the rapture. And that's the reason. Now, how do I know this? Where am I getting my information? Because all you have to do is then look at what those who channel demons and fallen angels, especially in the New Age movement, or any channeler, a medium, a psychic, or whatever, when you get to these New Age psychics or mediums, and they're channeling a real demon, the demons actually tell them what's going to happen. Now, they tell them what's going to happen, but they twist it and lie about the event. So I'm going to show you some quotes from these New Age gurus who are channeling demons, and I want you to see the narrative that the demons are telling them. So for instance, look at this New Age channeler, Barbara Marciniak, and this is from a book, Bringers of the Dawn. Quote, she says this, and I'm going to have the quote on the screen for you. This is what the demon told her. The people who leave the planet during the time of Earth changes do not fit in here any longer, and they are stopping the harmony of Earth. When the time comes that perhaps 20 million people leave the planet at one time, there will be a tremendous shift in consciousness for those who are remaining. Do you see what's happening? The demon she's channeling is giving her an alternative narrative for the rapture. How about this channeler, Thelma Terrell, who goes by her spiritual name to Ella? She wrote a book called Project World Evacuation. And these are some quotes I'm going to show you from that book. Her messages were channeled from a being, or a demon probably, or a fallen angel, who calls himself Ashtar, the leader of an alien confederation. You catch this? Okay, so the aliens, so-called, are making an alternative narrative to explain away the rapture. So they're not aliens, they're demons, right? This is what she says. I'll have the quote here on the screen for you. Our rescue ships will be able to come in close enough in the twinkling of an eye. I wonder where they got that term from. Because the rapture happens in a twinkling of an eye. But yet they borrow that language from the Bible, and this is what the demon told her, that they're going to come close enough in the twinkling of an eye to set the lifting beams, taking people up, in operation in a moment. Oh, that's funny, in a moment. Twinkling of an eye, in an instant, moment. That's exactly what Paul said in 1 Corinthians 15, right? And the lifting beams are going to take us up. And all over the globe where events warrant it, this will be the method of evacuation. Mankind will be lifted, levitated, shall we say. Interesting, they use the word levitated or lifted. Because the arpazo is a lifting a catching of us up out of here and being lifted up to heaven. Isn't that interesting? By the beams from our smaller ships. These smaller craft will in turn taxi the persons to the larger ships overhead, higher in the atmosphere, where there is ample space and quarters and supplies for millions of people. Isn't that funny? Another quote from the book. We watch diligently the threat of a polar shift for the planet in your generation. Such a development would create a planetary situation through which none could survive. This would necessitate an evacuation such as I have referred to. See, they keep calling it an evacuation by aliens, right? Here's another quote. Earth changes will be the primary factor in mass evacuation of this planet. So the story they're going with is the Earth is changing, it's moving into a fourth dimension in this New Age mindset, or at least what the demons have told them. And because of that, we got to get some of the people off the planet. Here's another quote. There is a method and great organization and a detailed plan already near completion for the purpose of removing souls from the planet. In the event of a catastrophic events making a rescue necessary. Oh, so now it's a rescue or an evacuation. Here's another quote. The great evacuation will come upon the world very suddenly. The flash of emergency events will be as lightning that flashes in the sky. Oh, I wonder where they got that term from. So suddenly and so quick in its happening that it is over almost before you are aware of its presence. Oh, that twinkling of an eye thing. Look at the other quote. Phase 1 of the great exodus of souls from the planet will take place at a moment's notice when it is determined that the inhabitants are in danger. Phase 2, here's another quote. The second phase immediately following the first. The second phase is vital as we return for the children, notice this, the children of all ages and races. The child does not have the power of choice in understanding nor personal accountability. Isn't that funny? Because we all know when we talk about the rapture that God would take the babies and the children before they've reached the age of accountability in order to make that decision for Christ. He takes them anyway. We know that because of other passages in the Bible that lend support to that. Now, isn't that funny? That they're spinning the narrative to be able to explain away why the children of all ages and races disappeared from the planet. Isn't that funny? See, the demons know something. The fallen angels know something. And this is what you have to remember. Satan knows the Bible better than we do many times. And so does his followers. But what they do is they know the Bible, then they twist it. They change it. They add things. They subtract to things, right? That's how the game is played with Satan. And what he does to us and what he does to people. Notice that they are not denying this event, the demons and the fallen angel. They're not denying it. They are just explaining it away. I want to make a point, too, about this. Isn't it funny that those who are channeling demons and getting information demons are spinning the truth about the rapture? I want you to think about this in another term as far as apologetics. What do demons and fallen angels oppose? They oppose the truth. There's no reason for them to oppose something that's not true. They have to oppose the truth, spin it, change it, do whatever they need to do, create another narrative, create a false doctrine, whatever it is. And so demons and fallen angels attack the truth. So what truth are they attacking? They're attacking the rapture. So that should tell us, as part of an argument for the rapture, and the first argument is obviously the scriptures, and how the rapture is different than the second coming and whatnot. And you go on through the list of explaining all the defenses for the rapture. But at the bottom of that list, one of the other things that lends support to what the Bible teaches is the opposition to the theological teaching from the demonic realm. So when you see the demonic realm spinning the narrative to make it another narrative, say this is the great evacuation, this is ships pulling them up in beams, they're attacking the truth. And that explains the truth of the rapture many times. Isn't it funny? They're not making any other kind of narrative up. And there's many denominations and many churches that don't even believe in the rapture. Well, they're doing exactly what the demons and the false teachers and fallen angels want them to do. Not teach it at all. But what are they opposing? They are opposing the event. The demons know an event is coming. They understand the scriptures. They understand the rapture, so they attack it. Why? And why do I say that? Because the rapture has evidence in the scriptures. And one of the other evidences is the polemic against the rapture by the enemies of God. That should signal something to us. Anyway, let's look at some more quotes. Here's another quote, and it says this: "Do not be concerned nor unduly upset if you do not participate in the first temporary lift-up of souls who serve with us. This merely means that your action in the plan is elsewhere, and you will be taken for your instructions or will receive them in some other manner. Do not take any personal affront if you are not alerted or are not a participant in this first phase of our plan. Your time will come later, and these instructions are not necessary for you at this time." So this is their way of comforting the people that got left behind. Don't worry, we're going to come get you in the second phase or the third phase or whatever. They just needed the first phase to go. Isn't that funny? Because people are going to say, why did I get left behind, right? Perfect. They got a narrative for it. Or how about this other New Age channeler? Timothy Green Beckley writes, more words of encouragement for those who miss the evacuation in his book, Psychic and UFO Revelations in the Last Days. Quote, we'll have this on the screen for y'all. "Many of the New Age workers and instructors who feel that they will be taken will not be taken right away, but left behind to help mankind survive through the cataclysmic period. That is their mission." You see that? He's explaining why people are going to be left behind, that they're going to be instructors of helping those who are also left behind during this cataclysmic period. And boy, howdy, is that not true. If the rapture were to happen, how much cataclysmic events it'd kick off in the world. The world would just go in chaos. And they're saying it. The demons are saying it to explain it away. That, oh, you're staying behind because you're going to be able to help people during that chaos. Or how about this New Ager medium, Kay Wheeler, known for her spiritual name as Osmana, who describes herself as Pleiadian star seed and channeler, published an article entitled "The Time Is Now" in the New Age journal Connecting Link magazine. This is in the spring back in 1994. Okay? She presented material that she had channeled from entities that called themselves the Souls of Light, who claim to be extraterrestrials from the seventh celestial plane of life, who are concerned with helping Earth evolve to full consciousness. Here she writes of the evolutionary purge that's going to happen, this evacuation, and how humanity is evolving, because see, they believe in spiritual evolution, into higher spiritual consciousness, and that those thought patterns from the Bible, those values from the Bible, that morality from the Bible are old and need to go away, because we're going to bring in the new values and the new consciousness where everyone is unified and not divided, right? So you've heard that mantra, right? That we need to be unified, forget our theological differences, come together and sing Kumbaya. That's demonic. That comes from them. This is what they're saying, that, humans are evolving spiritually. See, that's wrong. See, evolution that came from Darwin, it didn't start with Darwin, it came from Satan. He taught in false religions that you can spiritually evolve. Take, for instance, like Mormonism. Mormonism believes you can evolve from a man to a god. That's an old line, an old trick that's been in a lot of pagan religions, and it's still here today. And especially in the New Age, they believe that they're evolving into a higher consciousness. And that you and I are the ones that are holding things back because we believe in the old ways. We believe in the old values and the old morality, which is an attack on the Bible, right? So this is what they're saying to them. And they're saying that you and I are preventing the spiritual evolution from happening. We're resisting it. And so we've got to be removed from the planet and develop on our own somewhere else, while they who are more enlightened than us can develop into that next level of spiritual evolution. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what they believe, right? And it fits into the narrative of the rapture. So this is what she says, quote, the mother, and when she says the mother, she's referring to Mother Earth. And by the way, did you notice in Earth Day, that pagan worship of Gaia that we just had in our in April, that people celebrate Earth Day? They're now calling it Mother Earth Day, which reflects pure paganism. It's paganism before, but now they're just calling the Earth Mother Earth as if she's alive, as if has deity in it or something like that. It's crazy, but that's, again, more of the paganism that's infiltrating our culture. Mother Earth. Well, anyway, it says the mother is desperately fighting for her life. The earth is fighting for her life, they say. Many of her vortexes have been drained, they say. She is in a critical condition at this time and must turn her thoughts to herself if she is to survive. That is why you see the many crises in the world. Many of these you do not hear about on your screen of lies, she says. So Mother Earth is going to die or do something, and so she's got to save herself. Okay? Well, let's continue on. Look at these other quotes. There is much happening on your planet at this time. The mother is cleansing. Oh, so Mother Earth is now cleansing herself. It is all she knows to do at this time to clear herself of the pollution that exists within her body. By the way, can you take a guess who the pollution is? It's you and I and the Jews. It's Bible-believing Christians. So she's got to cleanse herself of this pollution, right? And you and I are the pollution. But you, as light bearers, can help your mother cleanse it in such a way that does not destroy all life on this planet. So there's a solution to this. So watch what she says. Look at the next quote. Much of this is necessary. Many of these beings have appointments to leave at this time. Earth's population needs to be decreased to bring forth the necessary changes upon this planet to move into the fourth dimension. Isn't it funny that the New Age message spiritually that the Earth needs to be depopulated is the same message as the eugenics like Bill Gates and the rest of these leftists and world globalist guys all say the same thing. We have to decrease the population. We have to decrease the population. Well, so does the New Agers. So is their message that Mother Earth has to decrease the population. Here's another quote, continuing on. Your Earth is a fourth dimensional being. Oh, okay. It's alive and it's a fourth dimensional being at this time, she says. She has moved into this energy pattern. And those who plan to stay must be of this vibration. Okay, so basically, to interpret that, she's saying, if you're going to be on Mother Earth, you got to be on the same wavelength as Mother Earth, because she's a fourth dimensional being, and you got to move into the fourth dimension as well. You're only in the third dimension. It's just nonsense. I know. Just keep following the narrative. Quote, another quote. Many of these beings who are leaving this planet at this time have completed that which they came to do. It is a time of great rejoicing for them. Do not feel sad about their leaving. They are going home. Many are waiting to be with them again. Many beings must move on. for their thought patterns are of the past. They hold on to these thoughts that keep earth held back. Do you see that? So we got to be removed. You and I, the Christians, the believers in God, have to be removed because we're holding Mother Earth back. And plus it needs to be depopulated. So guys, they're saying, don't feel sad for these people that leave the planet. It was necessary. We needed to do that. The earth needed to do that. And so here we go. Folks, this is the narrative to explain the rapture. This is what they're going to say. And how do I know it? Because the demons are channeling the information to these people and telling them what to say, telling them how to think. Don't think the demons are not going to do the same thing with politics or whatever. These evil politicians, many of them, are fully linked into demonic activity. So why would they change the message? They're not. How about Erlin Cheney? Here's another New Age guru who channels an extraterrestrial who calls himself Kuthimai. And in Cheney's book, Revelations of Things to Come, this being, this creature, speaks about the earth changes and the need for cleansing. Look at this quote. He says, the Mother Diva, or Mother Earth, realizes that her matter must be purified. Her Akashic ethers must be cleansed of the dark thought of forces. Now, I don't even know what Akashic ethers are, but whatever they are, they need to be cleansed, according to them. And so what it's saying is basically, we got to get the bad people that's polluting the planet off the planet. I mean, I'm just so ridiculous. But nonetheless, is the narrative. Now, here's another lady who now is a Christian. Her name is Johanna Michelson. She's an ex-New Ager who was channeling. And she's now a Christian, but she writes in one of her books, like Lambs to the Slaughter, Your Child and the Occult. In her book, she writes about a famous New Age intellectual promoter of all of this by the name of John Randolph Price, whose spirit guide says that a number of human beings will be taken significantly higher. So she quotes in her book, Asher, the spirit guide of John Randolph Price, a moving force behind the New Age world instant of cooperation. This is back in December 31 of 1986, okay? In which thousands of mediators worldwide simultaneously concentrated on world peace, hoping to cause a critical mass launching into the New Age. Told him that 2 billion people who didn't go along with the New Age would be wiped off the face of the earth during the coming cleansing. So again, this is what these demons are telling these New Age channelers. The earth is going to cleanse us and get rid of the pollution, basically. So as you can see, a narrative has been building for some time. And that narrative is going to be used to explain away the rapture. Now again, we're not saying that what demons say are true. We're just saying what lies, how are they spinning this event that will happen and occur? How are they spinning it to explain it away? That's what the important point is. And what we're starting to see is high demonic activity. Like we talked about, the Pentagon is releasing videos. These pilots don't know what these things are. They seem multidimensional, interdimensional. They're not physical, even though they manifest physically. They don't obey the laws of physics. These are fallen angels. These are demons. But why? Why are we seeing so many of them? Well, by the way, interesting enough, aliens, it really started hitting ever since 1948. The sightings of aliens and whatnot. And even up to this day, it keeps increasing and increasing and increasing. But why 1948? Why did we start seeing all kinds of things in the sky, alien encounters, alien abductions, starting in 1948? Well, I think you know the answer. That's the year Israel became a nation. And I can tell you this, Satan knows the Bible just as well as you and I. He knows that when he sees Israel become a nation again, that's a birth pain. And that's a clear sign that the end is near. And so what have they been doing? Been ramping up phenomenon that's going on in the sky, ramping up, alien abductions. By the way, alien abductions is just demonic possession, and what's happening to these people is they're having visions and situations that are clearly demonic. Now, the aliens say they got information and whatnot, but it's funny that the aliens always attack Christianity. They always attack the Bible. They always attack things of the Bible. And they don't attack any other religion. So that's another polemic for them. They don't attack Islam. They don't attack Christian Science. They don't attack Roman Catholicism. They don't attack that. They attack true biblical faith. And they go after Jesus. But isn't it funny? The mentioning of Jesus instantly stops the whole abduction. And by the way, MIT did a whole report on this. They did a whole look at alien abductions versus satanic ritual abuse. And the same thing, it parallels itself. They're both the same. And so the messagings from the aliens, messagings from demons are the same. They smell the same. The same thing occurs in both rituals. So what does that tell you, folks? It's demonic. And why is it ramping up? To create a narrative that aliens, these avatars, these spirit guides, whatever they want to call them, beamed us up, took us away because we held back the earth, we held back the population because we were so bad. We didn't allow the earth to flex her vortexes or whatever they said, some stupid thing like that. And so we needed to be taken off the planet. Because there's no other way to explain it, right? Of disappearance of children. And notice that they know that children will be taken. And they mention that. Isn't that weird? So see, they're showing their hand. They know what will happen in the rapture. So they're spinning everything. Spinning the children. Spinning the sadness of why people are sad that their loved ones are gone now. But never telling the truth about it, right? And so I think you now see, with the time period that we're in, with all the movies that we have out there, our society is prepped and ready to go with a narrative that will explain away the rapture. And they're going to say it's aliens. So, we've uncovered a secret. We've uncovered what they're going to say when we're gone. So this is why it's very important to tell your family and loved ones that if I disappear, this is what happened to me. And fully explain to them the rapture. Give them a pamphlet about the rapture or something to tell them this is what happened to me. They're going to spin it. They're going to say something else happened to me and aliens took me, but this biblically is what happened, so that they have the information when you are gone, that they know. So that's my application. Tell everybody that's lost, that doesn't believe in Jesus right now, the gospel and what will happen to you if you disappear. What is that? Tell them what that is. That'll be a part of our evangelism going into these last days. Couple announcements before we go. If you're interested in more details about these New Agers and what they say by channeling demons, get Chuck Missler's book, and the book is entitled Alien Encounters, The Secret Behind the UFO Phenomenon. And he has all these quotes in that book. And you can get that book because there's tons of quotes. And so it's a good resource. Grab that for your library and you'll see how they're going to spin this whole thing. The second thing is, I Am a Watchman website. If you go type in I Am a Watchman website and you go to that website, they will have in their store area a place where you can buy a Rapture kit. And that Rapture kit includes a thumb drive. And on that thumb drive, they have video presentations that you could leave behind and libraries of information on that kit, on that thumb drive, that you can give a loved one, say, when I disappear in the rapture, take this, plug it into your computer, and it will tell you everything that happened to me, that's going to happen in the world, and what you need to do to prepare for the tribulation, and more importantly, accepting Christ as Messiah and Lord and Savior. And so If you want those thumb drives, cost about $30. They're well worth it because they have Bible studies, everything you could fully equip your family members with if you were to be raptured. So go to I Am a Watchman and look on there for Rapture Kit, and you can buy those online from I Am a Watchman. The last announcement I want to make is this. If we should ever be shut off of YouTube and closed down, folks, you need to go to our website. Redirect yourself to our website and we will tell you what to do. Also, we're trying to get a text alert to all of the folks that are following us on the internet so that when we get shut down, and I think it's just a matter of time, that we can help you to know where we're at, to know where we went as far as another platform is concerned. And so if you want, email us at info@rockharborchurch.net and explain to us that you want to be put on the text alert. We will put that in a group, and then eventually if things happen or whatnot, we can text alert everybody on their phone and let them know where we're at, what platform we went to, if YouTube should shut us down. So that's very important. So I want to make mention of that. Just email us that and we'll get you set.